So when you think, what will you be watching in the next GOP debate? Because, especially if you were there in the audience, you saw how people reacted. We got a pretty good sense, we in the TV audience. Nikki Haley did very well. Vivek Ramaswamy certainly commanded a lot of attention. I'm not sure, about his staying power. Who impressed you and who are you watching?
So let's do it specifically. I
Okay.
was surprised that Senator Tim Scott was so quiet. And in the upcoming debate, he's going to have to speak up. He's going to have to insert himself. This is really not who he is. It's one of the
Mm-hmm.
reasons why he's got the highest favorable to unfavorable ratio of any of the presidential candidates. He's everybody's second choice. But when you're running for president in this Republican Party, you have to speak up or you get forgotten. Nikki Haley probably exceeded expectations more than any other candidate, and she clearly showed through her debating prowess that she can take on and defeat any of those men up on stage. So she's the one who gained the most percentage-wise from the last debate to this one. So I'm going to see if she continues with that aggressive but respectful tone. The other one I'm watching is Vivek because he is the candidate of young Republicans. If first off, the average age of a Republican, frankly, is deceased. I mean, they really are old. And so there aren't that many Republicans between 18 and 29, but those who are love what he said, love
Mm-hmm.
what he represented. The people 50 and older were very concerned about him. He sounds libertarian, which appeals to a younger voter, but but Nikki Haley put him in his place in a way that was very effective. So for him, the next time, it's not just about some beautiful words or a great smile. It's going to have to be much more substantial because I think the other candidates are going to attack him. For DeSantis, he has got to show. For DeSantis, it's not the language. I know that that's what this conversation is about, but frankly, does he look presidential? Does he carry himself in a way that we could see him in the Oval Office, knowing that he's going to get hit before the debate and after the debate by the Trump people? And by the way, I watched Don Jr., I watched Kimberly Guilfoyle, I watched Matt Gaetz beat up. We're shouting, we're heckling every time they were sitting two rows in front of me. Every time that DeSantis spoke, he's got a lot of pressure on him, and he's got
Because
to
he's seen
prove
as the
that,
front runner, right?
and because he's been falling and falling and falling, and arguably he's not the front runner anymore. The polling has him at 17%. That's within the margin of error of the person who comes after him and the person who comes after them. So if he doesn't reassert himself, the money from people investing in him as a better alternative to represent the Republican Party than Donald Trump, that money's going to dry up if it hasn't dried up already. Chris Christie has to figure out how to address the boos because he's gaining and gaining and gaining in New Hampshire. I believe Chris Christie is heading to a second place finish there, which puts him up on the national stage. But it's really problematic for him, for viewers at home like you, who see this and wonder, is he the right guy for the Republican Party? And Mike Pence, here's what's interesting for me. Pence did better in the public perceptions than how I looked at it. And I keep thinking, what would my focus group say? How would they react to this? And his presentation is very much similar to Reagan's and George Herbert Walker Bush. It's not excitable. It's not passionate. It is focused. It is clear. He leaves no doubt about where he stands, which was appreciated in the 1980s and 1990s, not as much so today. So people's reaction to him was more favorable than I had. For Pence, he has to become an alternative, and he hasn't gotten there yet, which is why the Reagan debate is actually even more important than the one they just had in Milwaukee. What happens at the Reagan Library, I think, could be the determinant in whether or not Donald Trump is the nominee.
Well, and it's